In the previous session, we have completed all the dots. The finishing touches are also given. The dots are given in the ornaments. Okay. Now in today's class, we are supposed to complete the peacock feathers. You can see that some of the peacock feathers are already completed, and I'll give you a short demo wherein I'll show you how to add the lines in these sections to make it look like a peacock feather. So that is the task for today. That's the first task. After that, we are supposed to complete this white mala, okay, which is overlapped by by the mala which is having the buds. That mala needs to be completed. Once that is done, I will show you how to use golden enamel color and add the details. So this is our golden enamel paint which we will use and add the details in some of the areas. Mostly in the ornaments we will use that gold. Okay. And once that part is completed, in the subject we will use golden enamel color, and we'll have a small demo how to use this golden color in the background. Some of you might be facing the difficulties to color the background, and you might be having some kind of brush strokes, right? So by using this golden paint, we will be able to hide those brush strokes. Okay, we'll work mostly away from the subject in the negative space, and we'll try to hide those areas, right? And instead of golden enamel color, we can also use Kitpas crayons. So a small demo will be given how to use Kitpas crayons, where to use Kitpas crayons, and how it can, you know, amplify the final effect of your painting. So that is the task for today. Once everything is completed, we will try and do the varnishing also, right? So let us start. So the first part, as I mentioned, is to give some of the lines in these sections to make it look like peacock feather. Okay, for that you must use green color, dark green color. Make it a little diluted because we are dealing with very fine lines, so diluted color will help. So this is my dark green color. I'm adding just a drop of water, make it a little diluted. We're using a fine liner brush, natural squirrel hair fine liner brush. Remove the excess of pigment at the rim of your palette. Multiple times you can remove your pigment because we are looking for very fine lines. Okay, let's go close. Right, observe this carefully. I'm rotating my sheet to get a better angle. Okay, so first of all, the angle at which we are giving the stroke is very, very important. So first you can start from a middle stroke like this. Then from both the sides, you can give the strokes in a curvy fashion like this. Connect it with the black outline like this. There must be a uniform distance between two strokes. Hardly any pressure on the brush like this. Okay, this is even fine than this color because I have used the more diluted color, hence it is looking much more fine. Okay, take the color and see if you have taken the color in your brush, and if you do not remove it at the rim of your palette, it might be too much to handle on the surface. Okay, hence you must remove the extra color and then start giving the strokes. You may rotate your sheet according to the best flow of your hand. Observe the tip of your brush, whether it's touching the canvas, how much is it touching. Hold your breath and give some of the strokes. Observe the angle at which you must connect the strokes with the dot. You may fill in the gap if there is any. Once the strokes are given, you can use the same green color, and around this big dot, that is your burnt sienna dot, around that dot you can add a circular shape like this. That will help you connect those strokes, and in the same manner you can add one line here at the boundary so that it connects your strokes like this. If you want, you can also connect the bottom line like this. So this is how your peacock feathers are supposed to be done. Only dark green color is to be used. No need to mix dark green with any other color. Purely dark green, max to max a little water. Now I will go a little quick observe. The strokes will form a curve as you go down the line like this. It will form a curve. Initially it was more of a straight line. You may reverse the curve if you're not comfortable. It's okay if some of the strokes are thick and thin. That is the beauty of a hand painted artwork, that there are some mistakes. Once the strokes are given, use the same color and give an outline to the burnt henna dot with this green color and a border around the shape like this. It will help you connect the strokes because all the strokes might not end at one line. So when you give the border, when you connect these strokes, it will look more finished. Okay, and over here you can connect. Right? Are there any questions about this? Fine liner brush is ideal to get the most effective lines.
So, Karan, yesterday we did light blue, that is Persian blue mixed with white, and then
Yes.
you've given the Persian blue direct, is it? That
Yeah.
small dot.
Yeah, that's right. Ocean blue and white was the middle, I would say, dot. And then the smallest dot is only Prussian blue. So basically there are three dots, and if you consider green as one dot, then four. There is a green outline around burnt,
Okay.
which looks
Okay,
like a
that can be
dot only.
considered. Ha.
Mm. But see, I won't suggest you to give a green dot first and then overlap it with burnt, because this process is happening because we want to connect the strokes. So once after the strokes are given, then you must give this green circle like this. Finishing is
But
very, very.
naturally, in a peacock feather, there'll be
Hmm.
mixed colors, right? Like blue,
Hmm.
bluish green, and
See, we are working on a very small size. So if we
I
try
mean,
to
for some of
achieve.
them who have done peacock, no, for them, I mean,
uh,
I don't know. I have never done a peacock, so I'm
hmm.
very curious to know the colors in peacock.
In the peacock feather there are multiple colors, and it also shines differently in the light. So
Yeah.
if you observe a natural peacock feather, you will come to know about the color combination. See, these are just I would say an illustrative form of the peacock feather. It's not a real peacock feather, right?
Hmm.
So you may select the color according to the real peacock feather. That is also fine. Although I have selected the colors according to that only. There is light blue color, then there is dark blue in the center, then there is
Hmm.
burnt. A very light tone of burnt is there. Some brown strokes are there in the feathers. I mean, in the lines, right?
Okay.
So yeah, it's very similar to that, but the kind of shine that we are looking for, that we might not get here. For
Hmm.
that, you can use golden color. Golden enamel color can be used, and in between some of the strokes you can give some golden strokes.
Okay.
So yeah, you must observe first. Observe your real elements and try
Hmm.
to get inspired
Replicate it.
from the
Yeah.
colors, and
Hmm.
then you may select the colors here. Okay, so this was all about the crown. The crown is almost completed. The peacock feathers are added. The motif in the center is also completed. Now we will switch to the mala. So for the mala, I would first give you the measurement to, mark the sections. There are multiple sections here which must be marked first, and then you can. I'll give you the size according to your canvas. So this is your size of canvas. This is the A2 size, 24 by 18 inches canvas. The one which I'm working is comparatively smaller. So first of all, let me tell you how to measure and how to mark these sections. So if you see the final outcome, there are multiple sections which are colored white in the middle. Okay, and the rest of the sections are having this floral color, right? So there are basically three colors. One is red, then yellow, and then there is green. Okay, and the middle section is white, right? So first of all, let us mark. You need to place your scale here, at the circular portion of the ear, right? So place your scale there. So this section where you're getting the colors, in this section where you're getting three colors, that section is 4 centimeter in height. And the section which is left white, that is 3 centimeter. Okay. So you must mark 4 centimeter, then leave 3 centimeter, then again mark 4 centimeter, then again leave 3 centimeter, mark four, leave three. And at the end, you might get a comparatively bigger section here at the center, but that's totally fine because it's going to be a common thing which will balance out both the sides. So this will be comparatively bigger, but the rest of the section are going to be 4 centimeter, and the white section is 3 centimeter. So place your scale at this point and mark 4 centimeter and draw a line, then leave 3 centimeter. You may switch the scale to the marked point, mark at 3 centimeter, again switch your scale to the next point and mark 4 centimeter, then again mark 3, then mark 4, again mark 3. So the point will come here somewhere. Then you leave this point and start the same thing on the other side, and then you will reach somewhere over here, right? Now this 4 centimeter section, there are three colors, right? In the 4 centimeter section, there are three colors. So 2 centimeter will be the red color, and half of centimeter will be 0.5. Yeah, that is half centimeter. 0.5, 0.5 will be green and yellow. So first of all, you can mark 1 centimeter, then 3 centimeter, and the rest will be four. And then divide this section into two equal parts. Okay, it's basically somewhat like this. So this is your section. So this is your section, right? This is 4 centimeter. So जो बीच वाला section है, that is your biggest section, red color, that is 2 centimeter. And here you will have one, and here you will have 1 centimeter, right? ये 1 centimeter को you have to further divide it into two equal parts. One will be yellow and one will be green. So this is basically your 4 centimeter section, right? So, and it's not a compulsion, you may change it. I mean, it's not a compulsion that you have to take 0.5. आप 0.5 की जगह 111 ले लीजिए तो भी चलेगा. I don't mind. It can be a random placement also because it's more of a natural element. यहाँ पे it's a natural माला, तो उसमें थोड़ा आप चेंजेस करेंगे तो चलेगा. कोई 4 का है, कोई 3 का है, that is fine. But in order to maintain the symmetry, malas में जो हम symmetry maintain करते हैं उसके लिए I would suggest to take the same measurement, right? Now according to this, I have, according to my size of the canvas, this is comparatively smaller, I have marked some of the lines. Now there are basically three colors which we will be using. Let's go a little close. Yeah. So as you all can see that I have given this bigger section, then I have left this smaller section, then again a bigger section. And in the center, I have colored with a mixture of red and white. Okay, so whichever color you're planning to get in the at the end, you must take a lighter version of it, right? So I have mixed white and red to form this pink color. Golden yellow will remain as it is because on top of golden yellow will add some of the orange strokes. Once that is done, once the division is done, you can take the color using your brush. You may apply the color there. So, for example, here in this section, I must apply this pink color. Filling should be very nice and effective. Line to line filling. Avoid overlapping the outlines. Once the coloring is done, you have to allow that section to dry like this. Now see the red color, this pink color is given in all the sections, you can observe like this. The lower section will be the biggest one. After that, the next color will be golden yellow. So take purely golden yellow, no need to mix it with anything else. And you need to fill in the color just besides this pink color. It will be half a centimeter in your case. Half a centimeter in your case. It's okay if you do not measure it and do. You can randomly take the half of that section and color it with golden yellow. So this is the base that we are creating for the flowers added in the mala. Later we will add the visual textures by using a scribbled line. We will add a visual texture which will make it look like a real flower from distance. You may change the color. If you are not really looking for yellow flowers, you may change the color, but the process remains the same. You have to take a middle tone, apply it in those sections, and then add some strokes to make it look like flower. The strokes will be more like a scribbled line. Try to maintain the symmetry on both the sides. After yellow, the next color will be green. So for green, I would suggest to go for a light tone of green instead of dark green. So forming the light tone will be golden yellow, a mixture of golden yellow and dark green. It will help you form light green color. Okay, this light green you're supposed to add just besides golden yellow. Again, line to line filling. Initially, it will look very plain and two-dimensional because we haven't added the strokes on top of it. If you wish to extend this green area, you may extend it on all the sides because you have a huge gap of white. So अगर आपको इसको extend करना है तो आप green को थोड़ा थोड़ा extend कर सकते हैं. Okay, allow it to dry and then we will add the strokes. Now how to add the strokes and how it will create that impact in your sections. So let us observe that. So this section is already dried. So I'll work in that section. Now the strokes will be given with a comparatively darker color than the base. Okay, so as we have selected middle tone of red and white, this is more like a pink color. So we will give the strokes with a darker middle tone. So it will be more of red and less of white, darker middle tone. Don't use directly red, otherwise it will be too harsh and dominating color. So use a darker middle tone. Now observe this carefully how the strokes are supposed to be given. Your tip of your brush should be touching the surface and it's more of a scribbled lines like this. There is no proper direction. You can randomly place the line. Avoid overlapping a lot in one section because when you overlap a lot, you tend to create a darker section. Okay, so overlap according to the tone that you want, like this. So when you add these strokes, it will make your section look a little three-dimensional Still, we will give some tonal differences once this dries, like this. This is called visual textures. Can anyone name some other visual textures which you have come across in your day-to-day life? विजुअल टेक्सचर का मतलब कोई मुझे बता सकता है? What is visual texture? Don't Google it.
Can we call this dotting also a visual texture? Like it looks like pearls.
Dotting,
Which is
be a
not
little.
real. Sir, the
Sorry.
texture which is not real, we can visualize it.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
That's why we call it visual texture. Like this, what you are creating, it's not actually real. We are creating this, so we are telling this as visual texture.
Yeah, you're somewhere near to the answer. That's a close answer. Yes, tell me.
3D effect.
Three-dimensional, yeah, but I'm looking for some other
So कोई भी type के
words.
textures या linings या shadings, that is exactly, if I'm not wrong, visual texture.
No, shading is not texture. Shading is not visual or any sort of a texture. Shading is shading, and texture is different. So somebody just said that we're able to visualize it. Now, can you elaborate this a little bit? What do you understand by visualizing it? I can also visualize a texture given on my wall, right, which is having a rough texture. So is it a visual texture then?
Like what we created in the eyes of the Srinath ji. So we visualize it कि उनके आंखों के नीचे एक shadow आएगी. So
No, that's not the answer we're looking for. See, visualization can be done for anything. It's not for only the texture. It can be done for anything. You are visualizing the dots, you're visualizing the shape, you're visualizing the colors, right? So it doesn't have to do anything with the texture, visual texture.
Maybe imitating the original, what do we say, character of the things that we want to put in.
Yeah, somewhere you're close to the answer. I would say 30% close to the answer. Yes. Try out. It's okay if it is incorrect. You may try.
सर इसमें इल्यूजन होता है क्या?
Optical illusion is no, it's not a type of texture. Optical illusion is not a type of texture.
Okay.
Anything else? Meanwhile, I'll just
So
take
that
dark
we
green color.
feel something like a texture that we feel in a 3D form, and we'll try to
Mhm.
replicate it in any painting. Something
Hmm.
like that is a texture.
So, if I talk about something which you feel, so if you touch your hair, you feel your hair, right? If you touch your skin, you feel your skin. If you touch your shirt or maybe any cloth, you tend to feel the texture of the cloth, right? And whenever we go out and we purchase something, we tend to touch those garments and we try to feel the texture, and accordingly we buy it, right? So that is nothing but real texture, because you're able to touch and feel the surface. Now that real texture can be anything. It can be the surface of my painting, it can be the bristles of the brushes, it can be the beard, it can be the hair, it can be anything which you're able to feel. That is the real texture. Okay, it can be smooth, it can be I would say rough, anything which you're able to feel by touching, that is a real texture. Can be anything. It doesn't have to be a wall texture only, it can be anything. Okay, but when you try to get close to those real texture by utilizing some of the elements. Now here the element which I have used to create a scribbled effect, which is, can you tell me in the scribbled effect where you observe in the real life, the kind of scribble effect where very similar kind of a real texture we observe in our day to day life, where do we observe it, the scribbled, this kind of an effect? Don't tell me flowers, right? What? Where else? Where else do you observe this kind of a texture?
सर ऐसे इफेक्ट तो जब हमारा हेयर फॉल होता है और वो कलेक्ट करते हैं उसमें आती है.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. That's correct. See, nothing wrong in discussing everything. That's correct. And apart from that, have you ever observed a nest of a bird? A real nest of a bird is having this kind of a texture. Then somebody is having curly hair, having this kind of a texture, right? That is a real texture because you're able to touch the hair. You're able to feel the hair, right? But even Maggie is having this kind of a texture, right? So in the real life, you get a lot of real textures. It's just a matter of observation. And when we try to replicate those real textures and we try to get a visual texture, because when you touch this surface,
सर वहां पे
let me
येलो
finish.
कलर नहीं करना था.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
आपने ग्रीन. हाँ.
तो हट जाएगा एक मिनट. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah. So when we are talking about real textures, we also try to convert it into a visual texture, right? By utilizing some of the elements. So here the element which we are using is a scribbled line, correct? So instead of a line, you can also use a dot to create a visual texture. You can also use a shape. You can also use a line. You all of you have heard of cross hatching, right? Cross hatching is nothing but a visual texture. Okay, dotting. When we are talking about stippling, आपने ये देखा ही होगा कहीं ना कहीं कि आपने डॉट से पूरा का पूरा पोर्ट्रेट बनाया है, right? So dotting is nothing but specifically stippling is nothing but a visual texture.
In pencil shading, there is stippling and dotting.
Yeah, pencil shading is not a visual texture. Pencil shading is very different.
No,
But
we are using the technique, I am telling. Dot and strictures
हाँ,
in pencil
so
shading.
no, not pencil shading is not visual texture. Creating the tones is nothing but creating the densities. So now, yeah, my next question is, how do you see in shading? We know that how do we create the, the different tones, right? Shading में हम सबको पता है कि कैसे अलग-अलग tones हम बनाते हैं. But when we are talking about visual textures, how do you create the densities? How do you create dark and light tones? How do we do that?
सर ये
Yes.
टेक्सचर ना वन साइडेड वन पेंटिंग उसमें मैंने वो जो 3D पॉपअप कलर नहीं आते
Mm-hmm.
उससे किया था तो
No,
that was giving the
it's not about the medium. It's all about the technique. आप
Okay.
चाहे acrylic colors use कीजिए, pencil color use कीजिए, that doesn't matter. But what is the technique? If I want to create a dark area, how do I get it? If I talk about visual texture.
different shades of color, sir, diluting
No.
and concentrating.
No, not shades. We don't want to use different shades. Are there any other possibilities?
It's
If
the
you want to
रिपीटेशन
see
distance.
करते हैं सर.
It's the
Sorry?
distance between the lines, I think. Lines or dots. No, you use more dark dots where you want a dark color
No.
and.
No, it's not about the darkness or lightness of the color. It's
Mhm.
something else. But you were close. You were close to the answer.
सर रिपीटेशन करते हैं इसलिए आती है.
Give me a better word. You're very close. Give me a better word. Give me a better word. Repetition को और क्या बोल सकते हैं?
The fineness and non-fine thing, मतलब जो fine होता है वो close होता है, and unfine होता है वो far होता है.
Fine and unfine. Okay. I need a proper word for that. There's one word. It's called overlapping. Okay. When you overlap the strokes more, you get the darker tones. I won't do it here. Let me do it here. Observe. See, I'm working with a scribbled line. Okay. This is my scribbled line. We're going off to the painting, but fine. It's hardly 5 minutes. I'm using a scribbled line. Okay. So this is my overlapping. My element is a scribbled line. This is my element. And I'm overlapping my element multiple times to get the texture. Okay, I'm overlapping my line, right? Same चीज आप dots में भी करते हैं. When you're dealing with stippling, आप dots को overlap करते हैं ज़्यादा. When you're looking for a densed area, and when you're placing it separately, you're looking for little less dense area. That is a lighter area. Okay. Now the smooth transition will only come when you slowly increase the overlapping part. Okay. Dotting will take a lot of time. मैं यहाँ पे करके दिखाता हूँ आपको. When you overlap more, you tend to get more darker areas. You were close to the answer. Some of you said that the distance should be, slowly increased, or the distance will matter the density. But the word is overlapping. किसी भी visual texture को create करने के लिए there are two things required. One is the element and second is overlapping. Now the element can change. It can be a straight line, or it can be a dot, or it can be as simple as a circle, or it can be a triangle, anything. The element will be overlapped multiple times to get the texture. Now this is your visual texture. Okay, now you can see that the density in the lower section is more. यहाँ पे थोड़ा dark दिख रहा है आपको. And as you go towards the upper left corner, or I would say the upper left side of the circle, you're able to see little less dense area. Shading में आप अलग तरीके से करते हैं. Here, the overlapping part will be very important. So this is visual texture. Okay. So now your task, your homework is try to observe, some of the real textures around you and try to create some of the visual textures. Okay. आपके आजू बाजू ऐसे काफी textures आपको मिलेंगे, उसको आप visual textures में convert करने की कोशिश कीजिएगा. Coming back to the topic, we are supposed to overlap the yellow portion by mixing yellow and red to form a little bit of orangish tone. Yellow और red को आप mix करके एक orange tone बनाएंगे. Use the same technique to create the visual texture like this. Don't do overwork, otherwise your base color will be hidden, and which we don't want. So let your base color be visible. It'll look nice, right? In the same manner, this white section can be overlapped with either yellow or gray. You can use either yellow or gray color in this white section, right? Or green में आप dark green directly ले लीजिए, because this is a mid tone of green, so you can use dark green and add some of the strokes in the same fashion. And once it is fully completed, it will look somewhat like this. Once your mala is fully completed, it will look somewhat like this. You can see the visual texture very clearly. And also we have given the darkness and we are trying to create a shadow effect. क्योंकि आपका जो ये माला है, it is overlapping this one, the floral mala, right? So due to the overlapping section, the light is not reaching in this section. Okay.
How do we
So
do
that
that?
I'll give you a demo.
Okay.
So for that, I have given the shadow effect. Okay, wherein we are creating a darker section just close to the flower buds, and away from the buds, it's comparatively highlighted. Okay, that will learn. Right. So these were the two major things which we were planning to complete, and the demo is given: the peacock feathers and this mala. Okay, once it is fully completed, we are supposed to give the tonal differences, but before that, we must learn how to give the strokes using golden enamel color. Are there any questions in so far? Please let me know. Do you have any question?
व्हाइट कलर के लिए क्या मिक्स करना है उसके ऊपर?
ग्रे से कर दीजिए आप, या तो येलो से कर दीजिए.
ओके, ग्रे नहीं है, दैट्स व्हाई आई आस्क्ड.
ग्रे आप ब्लैक और व्हाइट से बना सकते हैं, है ना? ग्रे बन जाएगा आपसे ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट को मिक्स करके. यस, एनी अदर क्वेश्चंस? Okay, I think we must start using this golden enamel color. Now, why golden enamel color? Why not acrylic color? Because the kind of shine that you get in this color, the kind of gold that you get in enamel, you do not get in the acrylic colors mostly. Yes, we tend to get the same effect in the golden foil. आपको पता होगा कि एक foil आती है golden color की, golden foil, which can be applied on the surface by using a glue. आप जहां जहां पे आपको चाहिए वहां पे आप glue लगा के you can put the foil on top of it, and then you scratch it. Only the areas where you have applied the glue, the foil will stay, and apart from those areas, the foil will be peeled off. So that will give you the similar effect, but the only drawback about the foil is that it sometimes sticks very well and sometimes it is very unfinished kind of an effect. So we tend to use golden enamel color because it's a permanent medium, gives you very similar effect to the foil. It comes in multiple, I would say, amount. So right now this is 200 ml. You can also get it in 50 ml. Now, one of the very important thing is that this golden enamel color is not water based. It's not a water based medium.
सर
Yes. Please
मेरे
hold your
पास
doubts.
ओके
Please hold your doubts. I'll give you time. Otherwise, we won't be able to finish. बहुत सारा काम आज complete करना है. So I'm just opening this can. आपको you can use a coin to open this. It's very hard that way. थोड़ा ध्यान से करिएगा इसको open up. Once it is open, be careful that you
Excuse
flip
me, sir.
the. Yeah.
Sorry, I need to leave now.
You
Due
may.
to some
you may leave.
emergency, I have to go.
Yeah, you may leave.
And
Fine.
I'm really thank you for you. Your classes
Okay.
are extremely beautiful, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Great as a teacher, no? There is no comparison.
Thank you so much. Means a lot.
Yeah.
Fine.
Thank you.
So you may complete your work by watching the videos, right? And we'll be connected through WhatsApp. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
So now let's start working with this golden enamel color. You can see the texture of the color. It's very, very smooth. And you can see the golden, it's purely gold color. One thing you must take care of that this pigment, this is one, I would say, precautions that you must take. You must mix the pigment very, very well because इसमें जो golden powder होता है, it settles at the bottom. Okay. It's a mixture of varnish and golden powder, so you must stir it very, very well and then use it. Okay, I've already done it before the class, but you must do it once you open the pack. You must do it. Now select a brush which you do not want to use for acrylic colors later. इस टाइप का एक ब्रश आप सिलेक्ट कर लीजिए क्योंकि ये जो कलर है वो फिर आपको काम नहीं करने देगा एक्रेलिक कलर से, राइट? बिकॉज इट्स नॉट वाटर बेस्ड मीडियम. सो आई एम टेकिंग अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ पिगमेंट. दैट इज द ओनली रीजन आई एम नॉट टेकिंग द पिगमेंट इन माय पैलेट बिकॉज इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू रिमूव दिस पिगमेंट फ्रॉम द पैलेट. इट्स नॉट वाटर बेस्ड, बहुत मुश्किल से निकलता है वो, राइट? सो आई एम टेकिंग अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ पिगमेंट in one of my sheet. Okay, you can see the texture of the color. It's very, very smooth. You may mix it. For diluting this pigment, you can use thinner. There is a thinner called thinner which will be available in the hardware shop. Thinner मतलब it's a very refined form of kerosene. Okay, उसी से आप अपना ब्रश भी धो पाएंगे because it's not a water based medium. तो आप ब्रश को भी पानी से नहीं धो पाएंगे, right? So use the thinner if you want to dilute your pigment. Now once this pigment is taken, you have to first decide that in which all area you want to give this golden effect. Okay, so mostly in all the ornaments you can give this effect. Let me show you from a different angle. Yes, am I audible clearly? My voice is clear?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm using this golden color and I'm going to add some of the strokes. I'm not going to color anything, fully. I'll just give some of the strokes in which all area I want to highlight. So I'll just use this brush and give one stroke around the dots in the flute here. You can also create a very good blending effect. Let me show you through the light. Is it visible? Yeah, just observe this through the light, how shiny it is. Okay, so अब जब light में देखेंगे उसको तो it will shine very nicely. This kind of effect you do not get in the acrylic colors. You can also create a good blending effect using this color, this pigment. As this is oil based medium, you will be able to blend it nicely. Water based medium takes a lot of time and effort in blending. If you're looking for a very fine line, then you must switch to a fine brush. Here in this section, I can give some of the strokes like this. Maintain the flow of the strokes and remember that if you make any mistakes, there's only one possibility that you can overlap those areas with acrylic color again. Once after this layer dries, you must overlap it with acrylic colors again. There's no other possibility. You cannot remove it from the surface because it's a permanent medium. You cannot easily remove it. Okay. For blending, you can use another brush like a deerfoot stippler. आप पहले color दे दीजिए and use the deerfoot stippler and then you can blend it. So first of all, finalize those areas where you want to give this golden effect. You can also do it in the nose ring. You can also do it in the ears. Just one stroke would be more than enough. Don't overdo the work with this gold. Fine liner brush can be used for fine details. Like for example, this is my fine liner brush. Remove the excess of pigment and give certain strokes. Once after it dries, it will give you very good effect. You can also create the outline around these pearls. I'll show you from a different angle that how shiny it looks through the light. Once after it dries, you can also overlap it with acrylic color and outline the areas. For example, I'm working around the pearl, and if I want to outline it with black color, black acrylic color, I'll allow it to dry. It usually takes 3 to 4 hours to dry, and if you want to keep it overnight, then it's fine. Now let us observe through the light how shiny it looks. Okay. Yes. So this area is, given this golden color, and here it's purely blank. Here I have given an outline, but it's not golden color. Here it is. So it will shine like anything. Okay. Are there any questions about this medium? Feel free to ask.
सर
Yes.
मेरे पास ये गोल्डन कलर नहीं है, फेविक्रिल का वो मेटालिक गोल्डन कलर आता है वो है, तो वो चलेगा?
चलाने के लिए तो चलेगा, कोई इशू नहीं है, लेकिन इसके जैसा इफेक्ट नहीं मिलेगा आपको, वो मैं आपको बता दूं। बाकी आप चलाने के लिए तो यूज कर सकते हैं, नथिंग रॉन्ग।
अच्छा, इसकी इफेक्ट ज्यादा अच्छी आती है?
हाँ, वही मैं बोला ना स्टार्टिंग में कि जो आपको इसमें शाइनी इफेक्ट मिलता है वो आपको एक्रेलिक में नहीं मिलेगा। सेम इफेक्ट आपको नहीं मिलेगा एक्रेलिक कलर से, इसीलिए हम एनिमल कलर ज्यादा प्रेफर करते हैं ताकि आपको ये गोल्डन इफेक्ट जो है वो अच्छी दिखे। हाँ जी, यस।
So do we have to make a black boundary first and then add the golden color?
Not necessary. It's not a compulsion. You can do the golden color first and then do the outline. It's your choice.
The outline is necessary, or we can leave it as it is?
No, it's required. Outlining is required in the whole subject.
Okay.
सर
हाँ जी, yes.
गुड आफ्टरनून सो आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन अगर गोल्डन फॉइल यूज करना है तो एक्रेलिक पेंटिंग स्टार्ट करने के पहले करना चाहिए या मिडवे इट्स फाइन जैसे अभी अगर बीच में करना हो तो
See, these things should be done at the end of the painting. जब आपका एक्रेलिक का काम कंप्लीट हो जाए, unless you want the layer to go at the back, कि मान लीजिए कि आपको जो गोल्डन का लेयर है, जो गोल्डन फॉइल का, वो पीछे की तरफ चाहिए, नीचे चाहिए. फॉर एग्जांपल कि यहाँ पे मान लीजिए कि मैंने काउ में ये बेस कलर किया है, राइट, विच इज अ मिक्सचर ऑफ बर्न्ट एंड व्हाइट. इंस्टेड यू आर लुकिंग फॉर अ गोल्डन फॉइल एज अ बेस, तो आप पहले कर दीजिए एंड फिर आउटलाइन कीजिए. अदरवाइज इट शुड बी डन एट द एंड. जब सब कुछ हो जाए एक्रेलिक से, उसके बाद आप फॉइल से काम कीजिए, फॉइल या तो golden enamel color से, because these colors are used for finishing touches, right?
सर जस्ट वन मोर थिंग सॉरी जस्ट वन मोर थिंग एक्चुअली कई बार क्या होता है अगर एक्रेलिक पेंट कर दिया और बाद में जैसे एक पोर्शन छोड़ के गोल्डन फॉइल मैंने स्टिक किया सो व्हेन आई रिमूव इट विद द ब्रश वो ना एक्रेलिक पेंट में जाके स्टिक ऑन हो जाता है तो इफ इट डज दैट तो उसको रिमूव कैसे किया जाए
Yeah, that is the only drawback of golden foil. उसको handle करना बहुत ज़्यादा difficult है. That is the only reason we switched to the enamel color, golden enamel color. तो वो उसको हटाने के लिए I don't think there is another option, but you have to overlap with the same acrylic color.
ओके ओके थैंक यू सर
किसी मीडियम या केमिकल से नहीं हटा सकते. Right? It's more of a powder form. Yes, somebody else had a question.
Yeah. It was my question. Like, can we really paint over the gold foil?
You may. Yes, you may. Once
Yeah.
after it dries, you can use acrylic colors and you can paint it. But then golden foils are not permanent. So you have to fix it with varnish to make it permanent. So sometimes, golden foil gets easily peeled off by using your nail, or you once you scratch it, आराम से निकल जाएगा. तो उसको आपको किसी भी तरीके से एक बार उसको परमानेंट करना है, right?
So actually, I have done Tanjore paintings. So on that, like we use gold, basically gold. It's not golden, imitation golden नहीं है, वो pure gold है.
Okay.
तो उसके ऊपर नहीं कर सकते पेंट, तो इसीलिए वो जो we mix soap on it to do the ornaments, like gems like this, like the red or the green gems that we do, no?
Then you allow it to dry, and then you on top of it you use the
Yes.
golden.
Yes.
So yeah, see, I think maybe different techniques and different, I would say that is a traditional way of coloring it, right? But here we are having a very different approach. This even the golden enamel color is not used traditionally. Let me be very clear that this golden enamel color is a very, I would say, rare
Modern
medium that
medium.
nobody uses. Nobody uses. So this medium is selected because I have experimented it before, and it gives you a very good effect overall. हमारे पास real gold नहीं होता. We don't have access to those pigments, so we have selected the best option according to our accessibility, right? But let me repeat myself that this is not a traditional medium that we are dealing with, right? None of it is a traditional medium. Only the tool that we use, this fine liner brush, is a traditional tool. Otherwise nothing else is a traditional medium. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so along the white dots near the black outline in the mala, you've used one extra color. What color is it?
Black dots.
No, sir. It's a little brownish near the mala.
It's a lighter tone of that particular color. For example, I have used burnt sienna color as it is to give the big dots. Then I have mixed burnt sienna and white to form a light tone of burnt, and then I have given there. So जो भी आप कलर लेते हैं उसका एक लाइट टोन बना के आप स्ट्रोक्स दे सकते हैं. Let me show you the cow, how beautiful it looks when you see it through the light. I hope the shine is visible. Yeah, see, some of the strokes are given here. Yeah, you can see the strokes given with this golden enamel color. The best part about this golden enamel color is that it won't be a very, I would say, dominating when you see it directly from the front, but when you see it through the light from a different angle, it will look very, very beautiful. You can do it anywhere you want. It can be even in the face, can be around the eyes. जहाँ पे भी आपको ये color चाहिए, use कर सकते हैं इसको. But when you look at it from the top, the golden color won't be visible, right? It will look very normal. So that is the beauty about this pigment. Let me show you one painting wherein we have used this golden color a lot. So are there any questions about this pigment, this medium? आपको पता है कि कैसे use करना है, right? Now it's up to you that where do you want to use this medium. It's totally up to you.
And in the background, how can you see that golden?
Yeah. I'll give you a demo.
Yes.
Coming to that. Any other questions about the pigment, about the medium?
Can we use turpentine to clean the brushes for this?
Yeah, definitely. Turpentine is nothing but a thinner. It's a fancy name. That's the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
So see over here, you can see that I have varnished it, so the golden effect is slightly less, but you can see the golden effect here. This is the golden outline that I have given. Even some of the lines are here. Some of the lines are given here. The whole background is given with this golden color. You can see the shine. Okay, and the kind of texture that you get on a rough canvas is very, very beautiful. This is a rough canvas, medium grain canvas, so you can see the effect of this golden color.
How did you do it on the background? Did you use a sponge or something?
No, the brush.
Brush only.
I'll come in.
On the black, how do we use, sir?
Sorry.
On the black, how do we use the golden color?
Let me come to that. See, it doesn't matter which background you have selected. It doesn't matter. The kind of gold that you want in the background is, there's a specific, I would say, style that we have used, which is near the subject, it is not very intense. And away from the subject, that is the negative space, the blank space, it is quite intense. So you can use a deerfoot stippler kind of a brush. This is a deerfoot stippler, which you may use. Use your color, take the color in your brush, okay, like this. Remove the excess of color, that is very, very important. Give some of the strokes on the same sheet. It should be more like a powder kind of an effect, right? With very little pressure, you must start first. With very little pressure. Observe this carefully. I'm hardly touching the canvas and I'm moving my brush. With very little pressure. Okay. Always start away from the subject. जहाँ पे center वाला जो area है वहाँ से start कीजिए. And then slowly go close to the subject or the background elements. Right. Select the brush according to the size. Like this way. Do not apply, I'm repeating this again, do not apply a lot of pressure on the brush. Like this. So this is the first layer. First layer will be usually, I would say, same in tone, and then you need to increase the number of tones. So once you take the color, start working in the center area. Take the color, remove the excess of color, remove at least 2 to 3 strokes. Should be powder sort of a pigment. Start from the center and slowly go close to the elements like this. This is how you can give the golden effect in the whole background. Like this. Slowly move your brush. No need to apply a lot of pressure. This technique is known as, can you name the technique? We have learned this technique before.
Dry on dry.
Yeah, dry brush technique. Very good. So we are using a deerfoot stippler. The pigment is also dried. We are not taking any diluted form of the pigment, and we are trying to get this kind of a dry brush strokes, right? That means it is dry brush technique. I'll show you through a different angle how shiny it looks Once it dries, slowly move your brush. Always start from the center and go close to the subject and the elements. Observe it from a different angle. See how shiny. So this way you can even hide your brush strokes which are there in the background. Okay, you can try to overlap it like this. Initially, the intensity of gold will be very less, and slowly you can increase the intensity by overlapping the strokes more. It's nothing but a visual texture using the color. So overlapping will play an important role in creating multiple densities, right? Like this. When the color is less in your pigment, when the pigment is less in your brush, you can go close to the elements. जब बहुत कम कलर है तब आप एलिमेंट के नजदीक जा सकते हैं, बाकी आप एलिमेंट से दूर काम कीजिए. Okay, like this.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
सर जैसे हम लोग जैसे आपने आई कैन से लोटस हमने बनाया, ठीक है, तो जब हम शेडिंग करते हैं तो डार्कर और लाइटर को, जैसे आगे का जो लोटस का एकदम जो पहला पार्ट है और नीचे के जो जा रहे हैं स्टेप बाय स्टेप, उसको कलर में ही जैसे आउटलाइन दिया है तो वो अपने आप अलग हो जाएगा, लेकिन अगर कहीं हम आउटलाइन नहीं देते हैं तो कैसे हम लोग उसको डार्क और लाइट ऊपर नीचे शेडिंग में कैसे दिखा सकते हैं?
See, I have taught you the techniques. No, I have taught you three techniques, three blending techniques. So instead of a circle, you can practice it on a flower bud. It's the same technique. Okay. So you can use any technique. It can be a dry brush technique or a wet brush technique. And you can create multiple tones. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very, I would say, easy task if you consider instead of a circle, if you consider a flower bud. That's it.
Right.
So you can see, you can observe the golden effect on the surface. I'm slowly moving my brush. A very little amount of color should be taken. Initially start away from the subject, slowly move your brush, hardly touching the surface. It's very similar effect, similar technique that we use for powdering somebody's face. अगर आप कोई कॉम्पैक्ट लेके ब्रश से किसी के फेस पे मान लीजिए पाउडर करते हैं, तो it is a very similar effect. You always start with a less intense layer, and then you overlap with multiple layer according to the requirement.
सर इसमें फिर किटपास क्रेयॉन कहाँ यूज करेंगे?
Yes, I am coming to that. सब चीज एक साथ कैसे सिखाऊं मैं, आप थोड़ा धीरज रखिए, सब चीज सिखाऊंगा.
Sir,
जी.
so since this is a little dry in nature, the shading that you're doing, will it be fixed? Like, will it be fixed after it dries out, or we'll have to finish it with the varnish and then only dry, like it's fixed?
See, it takes time to dry. Once after it is dried, it is permanent. No need to fix it with varnish. Although we will do the varnishing process, but ये जो color है, ये pigment जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, that is not a temporary medium. It's a permanent medium. So automatically once it dries, it becomes permanent. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now a very important part of today's tasks, that is Kitpas crayons. Okay. How do we use Kitpas crayons and where it is required? Let us come to some of the characteristics of this medium. So Kitpas crayons are ideally designed for kids. You can see there is a image at the back of your box that kids are playing with these colors, right? It's made for kids. It's a temporary medium, non-toxic medium, and you can use it on the wall, any non-porous surface. So use your crayons for playing on the wall. You can draw certain lines and then you can easily remove it by a wet cloth piece. That is the ideal way of using Kitpas crayons, but it gives a very beautiful effect on canvas because of a rough texture. It gives a very beautiful effect and the color blends very well with each other. That is the major aspect of these crayon colors. And now let me show you a small demo that how you can use Kitpas crayons instead of brush and acrylic color. Let me just, so in this particular section, you can see that the blending is not, given a lot. So I'm going to use Kitpas crayons in this section. Observe this carefully. So as you can observe that I have used gray color. So the darkest tone in this will be black. Black will be the darkest tone and white will be the lightest tone. Okay. देयर इज इन अ सेट ऑफ 16 यू गेट ग्रे कलर ऑल्सो. तो अगर आपको मिड टोन चाहिए तो ग्रे भी आपको मिल जाएगा इसमें, राइट. It is a waxed based medium. So on top of Kitpas crayons, you cannot use acrylic color. Remember that the Kitpas layer should be done at the end of the painting. Okay, not before that. Now, let me show you how to use Kitpas crayons. So you can just give one line of Kitpas. बहुत ही कम amount में ये use होते हैं. So just give one line of Kitpas crayons. If the section is too small, you can use your brush for blending, or you can use your finger for blending. So I'm using my finger and I'm just dragging it to give a beautiful blending effect. You may do it multiple times like this. I'm doing it only on one side of the hand so that we can observe how detailed it looks. You can compare it with the other side. Very little amount of Kitpas should be used if you're dealing with black. And now I'm going to show you how you can use the brush for blending. So use your brush, move your brush like this, and create a dark effect. Make sure that the brush is fully dried. There's no water in it. Otherwise, it will not allow the crayon to blend, because it can be cleaned with water. So अगर आपके ब्रश में थोड़ा पानी है तो वो सरफेस पे उसको अप्लाई नहीं करने देगा. So move your brush along with the shape like this. Use white color for the center where you want the highlighted area. A very little amount of white should be used. Switch your finger if you have used the same finger for black, otherwise you will form gray color. And then drag the stroke. You will get very beautiful blending effect, which is very difficult to achieve using normal crayon colors or with brushes and acrylic colors, right? So now you can compare both the sides of the hand. Here it looks quite three-dimensional due to the crayons, Kitpas crayons, and here it looks quite two-dimensional because we've only used acrylic colors. Now the same thing we will try to achieve in the face of Srinathji. As the shape of the face is too small, so you can use the brush for blending. So initially I'm going to give a black line around the whole face. I'm going to use my deer foot stippler and I'm going to move it around the face like this. Try to blend.
Sir,
Also, please mute. Yes, tell me your doubt.
ये ब्रश बाद में वाटर से क्लीन कर सकते हैं
क्लीन
क्या?
हो जाता है जी जी, हो जाएगा. किटपस क्रेयॉन्स का हो जाएगा पानी से, लेकिन जो आपका इनेमल पेंट है उसका ब्रश क्लीन नहीं होगा पानी से. उसके लिए आपको थिनर चाहिए होगा.
Okay.
Like this way you can create the blending effect. Let me go close. I'm only doing it on left side though, so that we can compare both the sides. Move your brush like you are actually working on somebody's face. You can give one line of Kitpas crayons just below the eye to create a dark tone just below the eye. Just one line would be more than enough. कहीं पे गलती हो जाए तो घबराना नहीं है. You can use a piece of cloth, a wet piece of cloth, and try to clean it up. Start with less. हमेशा कम से शुरुआत कीजिए. Slowly increase the intensity of the color. पहले हमेशा लाइट कलर से शुरुआत कीजिए, बहुत कम कम यूज कीजिए. Even your brush, you may select a smaller brush. If the section is very small, then you can use a smaller brush. White color can be used to highlight the cheek. This part I think I have already shown when we were dealing with the face. So now I will blend it here. Now it is up to us that do we want to overall increase the intensity of black. अब मान लीजिए कि यहाँ पे ग्रे टोन ज्यादा है, right? And if I want to make it a little dark, तो मैं ज्यादा थोड़ा कलर अप्लाई करके उसके बाद उसको वहां पे ब्लेंड करने की कोशिश करूंगा. I'll drag the stroke in a way that I go in the center. इस टाइप से मैं थोड़ा उसको ब्लेंडिंग कर दूंगा. Now it is up to us कि हमें कितना डार्क और लाइट एरिया चाहिए. लाइट चाहिए तो आप व्हाइट कलर यूज कीजिए, डार्क चाहिए तो आप ब्लैक कलर यूज कीजिए. So this kind of a blending is very much required in our painting because the face is the most important part and we must finish it in the best way possible. You may switch to a smaller brush. अगर बड़े ब्रश से आपको दिक्कत आ रही है ब्लेंड करने में तो आप छोटा ब्रश ले सकते हैं. नंबर 1, नंबर 2, राउंड ब्रश और a flat brush will do like this.
सर
जी
अगर फेस ब्लू कलर का किया है तो क्रेयॉन भी ब्लू कलर का
ब्लू,
देना है ना?
जी ब्लू भी ले सकते हैं आप. फाइनली डार्क कलर के लिए ब्लैक भी ले सकते हैं. मैंने डेमो में दूसरे जो क्लास के डेमो है उसमें मैंने ब्लैक कलर भी लिया है आउटलाइन के लिए. ब्लू कलर आप यूज कीजिए, उसके बाद उसके ऊपर जब आप आउटलाइन पे काम करते हैं तब ब्लैक भी यूज कर सकते हैं. सो आई हैव
क्योंकि
गिवन
ये
अ डेमो.
6 पैक का जो किटपास का 6 पैक का है उसमें ब्लू कलर है, वो लाइट है थोड़ा.
हाँ तो आप ब्लैक यूज कीजिए, ब्लैक चलेगा. राइट, ब्लैक विल डू. सो इस टाइप से आप फिनिशिंग दे सकते हैं. You can observe that it looks much different than what it was initially. So this is the Kitpas layers which will help you modify your painting and it look very effective once the layer is done. फिनिशिंग का एक बहुत अच्छा लेवल आएगा आपके पेंटिंग में. You use the crayons. Start with less, no need to apply a lot of color initially. Now if you wish to give the highlight of some other color that is also possible. मान लीजिए कि आपको चीक में थोड़ा येलोइश टोन देने हैं. In one of my painting there's a Radha Krishna painting which we've done and we've given a slightly greenish effect in the face by using yellow Kitpas crayons as the base was blue. तो blue और yellow mix होते हैं तब it forms which color? When we mix blue and yellow,
ग्रीन.
we form green color. Very good. So base was blue and we used yellow Kitpas crayons, so automatically it formed green layer which is looking very beautiful as a highlight. So मान लीजिए कि आपको चीक पे यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा येलोइश इफेक्ट देना है या थोड़ा सा रेडिश इफेक्ट देना है तो आप क्रेयॉन्स यूज कर सकते हैं. इवन इन अ पैक ऑफ 16 यू गेट पिंक कलर ऑल्सो. तो मान लीजिए आपको थोड़ा सा पिंकिश टोन देना है या थोड़ा सा ऑफ वाइट या येलोइश टोन देना है तो आप दे सकते हैं. राइट, even around the nose ring, if you wish to give slightly darker tone, then you can use black and just below the nose ring you can give this darker effect above and below the nose like this. Even inside the eye you can give some effect. इसका कोई अंत नहीं है, जितना भी आप चाहें उतना आप इसमें फिनिशिंग दे सकते हैं. Even in the nose you can give a good blending effect. We usually tend to skip the nose क्योंकि nose is much highlighted area. तो highlighted portion में आप white भी दे सकते हैं. In the lips, upper lip, the nose, both the cheek. And blending can be done either with your finger or using the brush. If you're using the brush, then switch the brush to a clean one. Don't use the same brush, otherwise you will end up getting a gray tone instead of white. So this is how your face is completed. Are there any questions about Kitpas crayons? Please let me know if you have any questions about the crayons. Yeah, one more thing I would like to repeat here, that the crayons color should not be overlapped with acrylic colors. Okay, when you overlap it with acrylic colors, acrylic color won't stay on the surface as the Kitpas crayons are waxed based medium. Okay, तो वो आपका जो acrylic color है उसको it won't allow it to stay on the surface. So be very careful. Now I was telling you to create the shadow effect. Okay, so in the mala I have shown you the shadow effect. So the same shadow effect can be achieved with the Kitpas crayons. You can take the black Kitpas crayons, take it in your brush, drag your brush on top of the crayon, and over here you may give slightly darker tone once after the base is fully dried. जब आपका ये माला सूख जाए, कलर सूख जाए, उसके बाद आपको ये चीज करनी है. It will create a very good shadow effect, which will make your work look more three-dimensional from distance, like this. It can be achieved using a cotton bud and a diluted form of black acrylic color. आप black acrylic color में पानी mix कर दीजिए और उसके बाद आप उसको you can use a cotton bud and dip it in water and then use the cotton bud to get the same effect. It's possible. If you do not have Kitpas crayons, you can use a cotton bud and diluted black acrylic color. Like this. Now you can compare this section, looks quite three-dimensional because of the shadow effect. Okay, so this is how you can complete. Now, initially I told you to get yellow for the flowers. I told you to give some yellow strokes, if you remember. So in the same manner, you can use yellow Kitpas crayons and give some of the strokes. Even when you are looking for a uniform layer and there are a lot of brush strokes, you can use Kitpas crayons and try to hide the brush strokes by adding a layer of Kitpas like this and then blend it using your finger. तो आपका जो बेस में जो स्ट्रोक्स दिख रहे हैं वो थोड़े कम हो जाएंगे. Same way you can use Kitpas crayons in the background. For example, here we have given the golden effect with the golden enamel color. The same effect can be achieved with Kitpas crayons. Okay, so I'm just giving you a small demo. Here I'm using a light green color. I'm using a light green color and adding some of the strokes here. Once the strokes are given, I'll use my finger and I'll try to blend it. Blend it in a way that I don't go very close to the subject. So the crayons will help you hide the brush strokes which are given at the back. Again, you can apply another layer which will be much more smaller because we are applying the second layer. So it should be a little less in the center like this.
ब्लैक
So
के
when
लिए
you
क्या यूज
observe
करें
your
सर?
ब्लैक के लिए आप ग्रे यूज कर सकते हैं, व्हाइट यूज कर सकते हैं, येलो यूज कर सकते हैं. एनी लाइट कलर कैन बी यूज्ड. ओके,
ओके, ग्रे नहीं है इसमें 12 वाले में.
व्हाइट यूज कर लीजिए आप. ब्लैक में ब्लैक यूज करेंगे तो ब्लैक भी मैट आपको मैट फिनिश देगा एंड योर एक्रेलिक कलर विल बी शाइनी. सो ब्लैक पे ब्लैक भी यूज कर सकते हैं आप. ओके, नाउ लेट मी शो यू अ स्मॉल डेमो ऑफ गिविंग yellow strokes in the flowers. So initially, if you remember, we've given yellow strokes from the bottom section, right? So you can use yellow Kitpas crayons and give some of the strokes and then try to blend it. It'll give you very similar effect which we tried to achieve in the beginning. Okay, for blending you can use a brush, some strokes of yellow, and then use a brush for blending. You will get same effect, very similar effect. Okay, in the same manner you may use red Kitpas crayons, and if at the tip of your flower bud, if you're not really happy with the red tone, then maybe just at the tip you may add a little bit of Kitpas crayons and just drag those strokes. It will give you very smooth blending effect. Okay, so ये सारी चीजें आप क्रेयॉन से कर पाएंगे. It will be a lifesaver if you are not comfortable with the brush. Okay, white color can be used for highlighting, yellow can be used for highlighting, right? Pink color is also there. In a set of 16 you get a pink color, so pink color can be used for a middle tone, right? Brown color can be used for the vaga. Let me show you a few strokes of brown. Even in the cow you may use brown. मान लीजिए कि आपका यहाँ पे ब्लेंडिंग अच्छे से ब्रश से नहीं हो रहा, just give one stroke of Kitpas, just give one stroke like this. Use your brush, use a clean brush, right? And then drag your stroke like this. It'll give you a very beautiful blending effect.
Sir, you asked us to put a burnt sienna color around the white, next to the white mala. What should we do with that?
You may add some dots on top of it. There's a very good tutorial video if you watch the previous batches, we have added red and white dots there. Sorry, red and green dots. Like we've given red and green dots here. No, in the same manner, I hope it's visible. In the same manner, red and green dots are supposed to be given in that mala. And even there is one mala over here, no? So you
Yes.
can give red and green dots. Now let us come to the malas. Over here, even in the malas, you can create multiple, layers. For now, right now, it's only one layer. In the mala, it looks quite two-dimensional. Okay. So how do we create a three-dimensional effect even in the malas? Okay, so let me show you. With Kitpas crayons, you can do this, or maybe with the cotton bud and black diluted black acrylic color. So for example, I want to differentiate this section and this section, and I want to make this section look a little embossed. Okay, so how do I do that? I'll use the Kitpas crayons, the gray Kitpas crayons, or black. I'll do it in the whole mala. Make sure that your crayon is moving symmetrical on both the sides, right? You can either use your brush or use your finger and try to drag the stroke you've given with Kitpas. The dots which are there, which is overlapped with the crayon, it will be translucent. It won't be fully white, but it will form slightly grayish tone, which will make your this section a little embossed. Okay, and it'll look pretty good. In the same manner, you can give curve right here. Use your finger, blend it. You will be able to get a three-dimensional effect. You can see that this particular mala looks quite highlighted. It looks quite above the level than this mala. Okay, so थोड़ा सा वो shadow effect आप create कर पाएंगे. Like this. Right. So in the same manner, you can use white for highlighting. For example, taken here, but you want to highlight this section, so you can use white, white crayon colors, and use your finger for blending. It should be done once the dots are fully dried. Okay, so you will see that now it is quite highlighted. In the same manner, I told you to create this, blending effect in the gems, right? So you can also achieve it using the crayon colors, although it's already given, but I'm using a little bit of pink color and try to create highlighted effect. You can use white or pink. The same manner, white or pink can be used. In green, you may use white or light green. It will look quite three-dimensional. Okay. So Kitpas crayons is a very good medium. You must use it. Not because I have the packs and I'm selling it. It's not the reason. And I'm not here to sell the packs. I want you to explore the medium, understand it, because it is a very beautiful medium to use and experiment. The kind of effect that we get here, it's very difficult to achieve with acrylic colors and brushes. And as we all know that some of us are from a very beginner's level, so we must use this medium. And the best part about this is that it lasts long for say 50, 100 paintings. So minimum 4 to 5 years you can use one pack. Like this you can give the effect with Kitpas. There is endless possibilities with Kitpas crayons. आप कहीं पे भी dark या light tone दे सकते हैं. You can even overlap a light color on dark. I have worked with yellow on black color. So there are endless possibilities, right? Even in the vaga, you may use red or yellow or white. Any color can be used to overlap the vaga. Okay. So yeah, Kitpas crayons are done. After that, varnishing. The last part of today's class is varnishing. I think everything is completed. Only varnishing is left. Some of the parts are still pending that I will complete by the next Saturday, although we don't have a class by next Saturday, but I'll just give you a quick demo of varnishing. I'll discuss the do's and the don'ts and some of the things which you must take care of while varnishing. So for varnishing, before varnishing, you must allow your painting to dry for at least 2 days. Okay, 1 or 2 days you can allow to dry. If it is a rainy season, if there's moisture in the air, allow it to dry for minimum 5 days, 3 to 5 days. Once the painting dries, you may clean it with a dry cloth piece or a wet cloth piece. आप उसको अच्छे से साफ कर लीजिए. Let it dry under the fan and use your varnish fixing the surface. Okay. So there are two types of varnishes available. I don't have the liquid varnish. Liquid varnish नहीं है मेरे पास, लेकिन I have the spray varnish. So as we have used multiple mediums in our painting, so we have used acrylic colors, we have used Kitpas crayons, we have used fine liner brushes, we have used the permanent markers, sometimes ball pen. So multiple mediums are used, right? So we avoid using the liquid varnish, because what happens when we use liquid varnish, we tend to apply it with a brush or a sponge piece, and it creates a friction on the surface. It creates friction on the surface, right? And to avoid the friction, and due to the friction, there are possibilities that your different mediums starts to either peel off or it starts to blend with the chemical, the varnish. Okay, hence we use the spray varnish. There are two types of spray varnish available. One is flat lacquer and one is clear gloss. There are two types of varnishes available in the market. Flat lacquer is nothing but matte finish, and clear gloss is nothing but glossy finish. Okay, this is the bottle that I use for my varnishing. It is just spray brand, and there are other brands also which you can use. Pidilite is also forming. It's also making these spray varnishes. Flat lacquer is a good varnish to use because it will neutralize all the shiny areas and it will make everything matte. And at the same time, if the requirement is glossy, then you can use this, but I prefer flat lacquer. Ab glossy bhi use kar sakte hain, nothing wrong. So what are the things which you must keep in mind while you're varnishing? It should be done in an open environment. It shouldn't be done inside the room. हो सके तो आप ये बाहर खुले एरिया में कीजिए, रूम के अंदर मत कीजिए. Always wear spectacles to cover your eyes and wear mask to cover your nose and your mouth. Okay, because the flames which we inhale are not good for our health. So you must take proper precautions and do the varnishing. You must cover the base with newspaper or a big sheet, which will help you avoid spraying the table or maybe the back of your painting. So please cover the base first and then you must varnish. You must shake the bottle very well. Shake the bottle very well. Clean the nozzle and spray it from either one side, right to left, or from top to bottom. Okay. The distance between the varnish bottle and your painting should be nearly 15 to 20 centimeters, nearly 1 feet. Okay, 20 to 30 you can take, 20 to 30 centimeters, 1 feet. Very light layer should be applied in the first go. Allow it to dry and then apply the second layer, which can be more, I would say, thick. Okay, so shake it well. From left to right. From left to right, you must apply the varnish. Allow it to dry for say 15-20 minutes, and then apply another layer. Again, this time it can be top to bottom like this. Remember that a uniform layer should be applied. So make sure that you look through the light कि कहीं पे ज्यादा या कम varnish ना रह गया हो. हालांकि flat lacquer में वो issue नहीं आता because it's a matte finish, so it gives a uniform layer once it dries. Shiny में clear gloss में ये problem आ सकती है. So yeah, that is it. Once after the varnish dries, you may frame your canvas and you can put it on the wall. That's it. So I'm done from my end. If you have any doubts, questions regarding anything, you may ask. Our workshop ends here, and this is the last session. I would be waiting to see your submissions in the group. Yeah.
Sir,
Let me hold the
I
recording.
have one query. This WhatsApp group will remain active for some
Yeah,
time,
it will be.
please?
Yeah, it will be active for minimum 3 to 4 months. It will be active, and
Okay,
you
sir.
will be able to access the video recordings for 1 year after the class ends. Okay.
Okay.
So by
Okay.
next, this is 5th month, right? So by next April end, you will be having